Morning, welcome to Plym Physio's live Plym Pilates video. So we will do today a little bit of everything. So I'll give you a little bit of a spiel as we're going along. So general Plym Pilates, so a little bit of everything. Okay, so we're going to warm up with feet underneath hips, shoulders. If you're happy, eyes closed. If you're not, you can keep them open. Right, eyes closed because we want to get feeling our feet. We want to start those messages, that feedback loop between feet and brain going. I'm just going to let my weight transfer forwards towards my toes, back towards my heels. Smally movements to start with, and then you can get them a little bit bigger. So I'm not particularly lifting anything off the floor, toes or heels. I'm just letting my weight transfer. Okay, I'm going to lengthen my arms up overhead and I'm going to reach those fingertips away. We're getting that sensation of what we would call elongation. So we're not reaching back and losing that symmetry between front side of body and back side of body. We're lengthening out the middle. So think of your drinking straw with the concertinas in the middle. Okay, now we're going to go side to side. So weight transfers more to our left foot, more to our right foot. Left foot, right foot. Again, feet aren't lifting off the floor. You are detecting pressure change in the soles of your feet so that your brain is getting those messages about drifting to one side, and at some point as that movement gets bigger, it might need to do something about it, because if you keep going, you might fall over. Okay, now, going to come onto one foot. So we're going to stack ourselves. Foot is the base at the bottom. Pelvis stacked up nice and level over the top. Left side equal to right side on the top of your foot. Right, we're going to have a little go weight transfer, toes to heels on one foot. So can I go forwards onto toes, back towards heel? If I can't, just pop your foot down. This is all about finding your balance reactions. So if you haven't got them, you're trying to challenge them and get them to fire in. So it doesn't matter whether you're good, bad or indifferent. You're seeing where you are to start with. To be fair, people that are struggling with pain, almost the worse you are, the better, because you've got more scope to get better. You've got more scope for improvement. For the good ones, you're kind of looking for those tiny not rights. Onto the other foot. So again, foot bottom, middle, stacked up over the top. I'm thinking of my elongation. I'm just going to let my weight drift towards my toes, back to heels. Toes, heels, toes, heels. Now once you're on one foot, you're not going to have the same amount of movement. So your range should kind of narrow a little bit. Okay. Right. Up it, so we're balancing on one foot, we're going to swing a leg. So for those that struggle with this, you might just be swinging it, brushing it past your other leg. For the ones that are a bit better, your runners, you want to be able to stack that up nice and straight, keep a nice upright lengthened trunk as that leg swings out the front and out the back. So out the back is aiming to get out there. So it's not just a big flick up with the heel, but you are trying to get the leg out the back for a nice walking or running stride. Same to the other side. And again, up in the ante a little bit, adding in the opposite arm, so we've got a bit of running man. Again, doesn't need to be perfect. You're looking at those balance reactions kicking in and telling you whether you're going left, right, forwards or back, and then being able to do something about it. Okay, warm up knees and ankles. So we're going to have a small knee bend. Think of your small knee bend as your jack in the box. Squat to upright, squat to upright, squat to upright. We can do some slow and steady, so you're thinking about sinking and coming up, sinking and coming up, or we can make it fast to really challenge your timing. So quick, 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 slow, 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 quick, 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 slow, 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 quick, 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 to slow, slow, slow. Okay. Right, let's have a little bit of arm work. So we're going to take the arms up overhead. We'll have our reach and relax. We're going to have your reach and relax. So your reach is again this sort of lengthening up. So I always use quite often the analogy of your drinking straw. So concertina's in the middle, so that as you pull up, you kind of get a little bit longer, a little bit thinner, but what you're not getting is bowing and bending of your straw. Okay, so up and reach. Now, if we turn that into an arm circle, we're going to come up the side. Now at the top, I want you to see how much space you've got between your ears and your shoulders. So can you drop, lengthen it up, send it away. Out to the side, reach it up, drop it away, come back down. So depending on how flexible your shoulders and upper back are, yes, you can aim right out to the side. If you're a struggler to stiffen your upper back, then let's happily compromise. We come in front of that front side of the body, up you come, you still get your reach, even now if it feels like it's heading off into the top opposite corner of the room, drop and return. And then your aim is just gradually to get higher and wider as you go. Okay, so you've got your up and your down with that shrug in the middle, down. You can put things together because we could stand on one leg now and up we go for up, shrug, down. Okay, then we can mix it up. One arm, one arm. Okay, so can we speed it up? Can we speed it up? Okay, swapping it over. So can we do the same on the right as we did on the left? As you reach and you down, up, reach, down. You can do a couple of both togethers. There we go. Okay, so getting a nice bit of hopefully upper back as well as shoulder movement. And then there's your challenge on your balance. Swinging, swinging, swinging. Can you keep it still? Okay, so nice little bit of upper back. Let's loosen up the whole lot. So nice soft knees. So a little bit of bend at the hips, bend at the knees. Foot rollers. So now I am lifting my feet. I'm going from the edge of one foot to the inside of the other, changing. Now, I effectively still stay over the top of my feet. Legs are rolling. Start thinking about the thighs and the pelvis. Start thinking about the chest, the shoulders. And now to start with, I'll give myself a little frame of reference, which might be looking straight ahead. And that's telling me whether I've got my head straight. Why? Because quite often what you'll see is a lot of people end up, they can't actually kind of keep that there, either because they're stiff, neck, upper back, or because sense-wise, eyes is, they think that that's upright, when actually that is upright. So again, all these little nuances, little snippets of information can be quite informative. Some people just aren't aware, so when they think about it, they sort it out and everything's tickety-boo. But for some people with maybe some chronic necky problems, whatnot, actually loss of midline means different pressures and changes, and that can lead to all sorts of things, headaches, neck pain, all sorts. Okay, right, so there's a nice little bit of loosey uppy. Right, unstack your spine, let's head down towards the floor. So roller it down, roller it up. And again, I'm not too bothered how you do it, in that a lot of people are worried about bend. Bend isn't bad for your spine. If we prompt it too much, some people then think they have to hold their breath as they do it. That tends to make you quite stiff. You're also trying to move whilst you're being stiff, so you're fighting tension, retention, and sometimes you just need to let it go. Now, some will naturally protect with a bit of knee bend, so that's fine, and some naturally protect nervy, certain other structures with head up. Again, that's fine. You just want to note what you're doing and maybe have a little play with head down, and maybe have a little play with how bent you like your knees. And there's nothing stopping those that are really worried, sort of just doing a little bit of a rest down on your legs. But your aim is just to be able to let that spine head down to the floor, so again, you can get to the floor. Okay, hands and knees from this position. I want you doing a nice little press up into your shoulders. You're going to tip your bucket so your pelvis backwards, let your head drop so you get into a nice big spine stretch. And now let it gradually all sink out. tummy heads towards the floor, head heads up towards the ceiling. So you've got your sort of your rounded back and you've got your banana back. Okay, if we think about it in anatomy terms, pelvis is tipped backwards, that rounds your lower back, you push up into your shoulder blades, drop your head, and we're in a nice bit of bend and spinal flexion, and then we can gradually sequence pulling the head up, drop between your arms, tummy drops, pelvis tips forwards, and you've got your banana. So I like mine to be able to do bits of the bottom, so a bit pelvic tilting, holding that as still as you can as you do a bit of middle trunk up and down, and then a bit in the middle, the top, sorry, which is your head. So can you do the individual bits, and then can you do it all in a big mass? Okay, now let's try some nice slow Superman. So again, it's quite maybe a known exercise for a lot of people that do some stability work and personal training stuff, but we'll start off with an arm float. So from our perspective, or mine being quite picky, as a lot of my guys know, that we are at the moment, we are looking to be stabilising. So we're going to keep ourselves relatively still to start, because that's easier, or should be easier. So we want that static stability, progressing onto dynamic stability at a later date. Now, shoulders want to be just sort of away from your ears, hands pressing into the floor, up into your shoulder blades with a nice long neck. Head is up in line with the back of the body, not hanging down, and equally not trying to look out the front where you're going. Now, I'm going to take one hand off the floor and bring it back in. In essence, we're not too worried about how high that arm goes. Why? Because I'm more bothered about what happens to these other bits. So my body weight is supported between 4 points of contact, 2 hands and 2 legs. If I take one away, that's 3, but my body weight hasn't changed. Ergo, those 3 now need to work harder to support that body weight. So you should feel a pressure increase on the bits that stay on the floor. If you've got that, then in essence you're not going to move. And if those are distributed correctly, you're not going to move. If you haven't, that's when we start seeing some lean and some shifting and some compensations. So I'm just looking for, can people support body weight through arms and legs? Have they got enough muscle control in the right places to not need to move around too much? Now, once you've got it, then you can be working the shoulder. So then you can start looking at bringing that arm up higher. There's your reach, and there's your lifting up. But if you start seeing more shoulder blade, if you start seeing less shoulder blade, you've moved. So the quick one is, if you've got your pint of whatever between your shoulder blades, gin and tonic, wine, beer, squash, water, then you're trying to keep that pint relatively still if you can, without sloshing too much around. Okay, so that's a fairly challenging, I'd say. People assume it's easy, but actually it's quite challenging. Right, if we go to legs, we've got to slide out the back. We've got to slide out the back. And on this, we may not even head straight for a lift to begin with, because what tends to happen is this is where we definitely see a lot more weight shift. It's not probably the best angle, so this might be. So as I slot out the back, I look for, in the gym, in the clinic, we've got mirrors front and side, so people can see what they're doing. This thigh that stays on the floor should stay and remain vertical to keep your pelvis level. But people that can't manage it will tend to shift, bum or hip sticks out the side, thigh doesn't stay vertical, and then you start getting twist and side shift. Okay, so you're trying to stay, again, middle and level. So your point now goes down to bottom, middle of your pelvis there. That stays level as that leg slots out the back. So if I do it this way round, so if I then go into a lift, if you start seeing more bum cheek, you've twisted. If you start seeing maybe less, then you've dropped down, but you might not pick that up so well. So again, it's this keeping yourself level. Can you move the hip, the leg independently of your pelvis and trunk? Once you've got it out the back, then you can go for your lift. Out it goes. Now I would always encourage mine to begin with to push out with the heel. Just because it starts bringing your awareness into that back side of your body, you will tend to then get a little bit more firing up of the muscles on the back of your leg, which are the ones that are going to bring that up in the air. Okay, so again, a bit more pernickety about maybe a relatively simple exercise that people have done maybe quite a lot in, even from a physio perspective. It's a nice little global stabilising exercise. Right, okay, so we're going to go on to your backs. Okay, I always use a block. I'm a bum-tum, curvy, spiny sort of person. So when I lie down, I would naturally have a good sized gap in my back. Popping my head up just puts a little bit of, takes a little bit of pressure off that usually. So if putting your head up on a block gets you flat straight away, use a block. Head down just tends to pull, if you're tight in the front, sort of pulls everything up and it tends to lift you off the floor. So you've got to be very aware. So for me, I'm just much easier on a block. Okay, so with feet placed on the floor, just taking your attention through your body. So on 2 flat feet on the floor, knees pointing to ceiling, tummy dropping towards spine, spine dropping towards floor. As I breathe in, I'm getting an awareness, hopefully, of air going everywhere, not just top front, not just out the rib flare out the bottom, not just all dropping into my tummy. I want to actually feel some air going into my back, bottom, or what we call lower lobes of your lungs. So you want some air getting right down there, which will expand those back ribs. So get them starting to move and stretch and open out, and gets us out of maybe some fixed postures in the back. Shoulders should be nice and relaxed down, so you've got some neck length. Okay, right, we'll float the arms up. We will do same siding in terms of an arm reach and a leg reach. So arm floats back, leg slides away. Arm floats back, leg slides away. So I'm just watching myself camera-wise. Okay, so the point of this is, can I open my hip? Can I elevate my arm? So can I lengthen my body, taking limbs away? And can I keep the relationship between the front and the back side of my body the same? So can I have that nice opening out, lengthened posture without back lifting off, or a topple left and right? So it doesn't need a huge amount of activity to do it, but you will need some sort of support because we've got one side moving. So quite often the other side needs to just be doing a little bit of support work to stop you being pulled off to the right side or to the left side. So for those of us that are stiff in the upper back, this is a good warm-up because it's less challenging on the top and the bottom. If you're good, then you might go straight into both arms. So you've got a bit more leverage just to pull and get that top half opening out. Okay, come back down. Let's try a different direction. So we're going to do some hip twists. So that's a knee that drifts out to the side, comes back up. A knee that drifts out to the side, comes back up. If I spin and give you the attractive view, maybe you can't see because of dark. Let's get some nice white Plymouth Janatan legs out. Okay, got my head cranked up here. Knee float, knee float. So there's your action. But so most will absolutely be able to do that, but again, the picky bit is, does everything follow? Or does one thing go and then I just counterbalance with the other? So am I kind of actively doing something to support it? Is that support system there? Or have I just learned a compensation Therefore, though that muscle sling that naturally supports that action isn't actually firing up. So, again, we might need to do something about that. So if I float my left, I'm going to actively think about keeping the back of my right side of my pelvis down into the mat. And then I swap it over. So I think about keeping my left side down now that I'm moving right. Equally, you can think about it from the front. So as I move my left, it's going to be my right side, tummy-wise, that's going to kind of be giving you your sort of secure point to let out from. So left side becomes the secure point to let out through my right. Okay? So I remember speaking to prospective physio, and there is a bit of a, you've got some very high functioning patients doing what he thought was quite easy exercises, and I said that quite often you'll get these high functioning patients, and what's happened is that the little 1% that goes wrong at even this level kind of gets exaggerated because of the volume, the intensity, the complexity of what they're doing. So this might be exactly the thing that you need to mop up to sort them out. Equally, some people just work very hard. The CrossFit, everything is just high, bang, 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 high, rigidity, high, low, maximum effort. But that isn't a strategy that helps us step up a curb, get your leg up onto a step, getting out of a bath and a this and a that, all those day-to-day activities that just need you to be able to stabilise and move. So not just because a patient is good or they're high level doesn't mean that there's no value in doing some of this low level stuff. From my personal point of view, I know that I have a very lefty righty bias, weaknesses and strengths. So when even doing the easiest stuff, when I have to stabilise on my right side is not that fit and it doesn't like doing it, my left side compensates. So I've got a stream of sort of sporting injuries that are just massively overuse on my left because my right side's a bit naff. And all the lower level stuff needs to get ironed out. For me, I'll always use the excuse of not having the time to do it. Okay, so getting off piste here a little bit. So we've been practicing our hip twist, and we might add some arms in. And to start with, I'd do opposites because you naturally counterbalance a little bit more. Okay, so opposite arm to leg. And as if you're good and you reckon, yeah, I've got that spot on, you can speed it up. You can go same siding. And then as soon as you speed up the same siding, it is really difficult to not just counterbalance. So that's what you can look out for at high level. Okay, right, very quickly, last little thing since we're running short on time. Right, let's have a floor bridge. So we're going to have a foot press, a bottom peel off the floor, a spine peel and a lower back down. Foot press, bucket tips back, keep pressing through the feet, squeezing through the bottom to peel the spine off the floor. Now on this is when the block is probably going to get in the way. So get rid, foot press, peel, curl up. Your watch points in the screen pads. Right, hopefully you can see my feet all right. Feet should be pressing flat and equal. So it's always very interesting seeing people do is the first few times, and even my more experienced ones, if they've got a pattern, you'll see it. So the foot either goes to the outside, so they'll be pushing on the outside of the foot, they'll be pulling their toes up, all of which means you aren't getting a good press action through your feet on a nice big secure basis support, or that fundamental start point of your press. And again, what happens to knees? Drifting out, drifting in, one going in, the other staying straight. Okay, so you've got all these little bits that you can just maybe spend some time on this easy stuff, just mopping up. Foot press and peeling. If you're good, then you can go up into your bridge, holding it up there. Let me spin back, sorry. Up, So mine is rubbish. So this is a very good example of a not very good floor bridge. I've got all the right bits going, but I'm just weak, if you like, so I struggle with this. And so very quickly I want to just drop down. So you've got to keep that pelvis peeled through, pressed up. Feet are equally pressing into the floor. So again, eyes closed, get tuning into those feet. Is left equal to right? And you can hold it up. And if you feel like you're dropping, can you add it, bring it on? Okay, so maybe to distract the brain to see what happens, we might do arm floats, right, left, a bit of both. A right, a left, a bit of both. And again, what happens? Do we start sagging? If you're weak in that backside, you might start coming into your back and you might feel pressure building up. That means you're struggling. You'd go back down again. Go up, having given it a breather, start again. Okay, so we've got some ups and some downs. We've got some up and staying there with the arms. And again, you're tuning in. So what I've noticed on mine there is that after a while my right does that. So I just get that drifting out. It doesn't nod like that, but it will go start off level and then just drift out to the side. So my left will be doing more. Okay, so these are all little nuances. So lowish level stuff, even if you think it's too easy, is very good to go back to. So just having a little mop up. Okay, so there were some basics there, a bit of balance, a bit of mobility, a bit of stability, finishing on combined stability, some strength endurance stuff at a lower sort of level. All right, so have a play with those. We'll be on again tomorrow morning. I haven't planned that yet, so maybe a little bit of winging it again tomorrow. Okay, and then tomorrow I might give you this. Plym Pilates Beginners is going to start the week after next. So if people are interested, let me know. I can bung you out some information of how it's going to run in the initial weeks whilst we're still in lockdown, and then we'll just move back into clinic in the normal Plym Physio setting. Okay, so hopefully you found that useful. Share with anybody you think might benefit from it, and we'll be back online usual time tomorrow, 8:30.